Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. And in today's video, we'll be talking about the horoscope for the month of April 2023. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. So up on the screen here is a depiction of the different transits that are going to take place during this month of April. And this is a huge month as we are going to have a solar eclipse along with Jupiter finally making its way into the sign of Aries. We have a lot of activity mainly happening within the sign of Aries. So especially for those of you who have a cardinal sign or one of the Kendra signs, or if you have a fire sign, then this is going to be a major month for you. So starting off here, we have a full moon in the Hasta Nakshatra. So this is definitely a time of letting go. The full moon we know is all about bringing things to a place of completion. And Hasta, especially as it is signified by a hand or a fist, is about grasping onto things. So this full moon is all about letting go of those tight attachments that you have that are no longer serving you. The sign of Virgo, as we know, is ruled by Mercury. So there's a lot of analysis, a lot of intellectual powers that are within this sign of Virgo. So this especially is about letting go of anything that you are worrying about, that you are trying to predict that might happen, really getting out of that space of anxiety and overanalyzing, letting go of all of those worries and concerns that no longer serve you. Following this, Venus will enter into its own sign of Taurus on the same day here on the 6th of April. So Venus feels very comfortable in the sign of Taurus. However, when Venus comes into Taurus, it will be hemmed by the Sun and Mars. So this is a bit of a difficult position for Venus to be, as the Sun is definitely an enemy of Venus and Mars is a malefic. So it is in a position where it is being hemmed or restricted by two malefics. So this is a little bit of a difficult period for relationships. You want to be very careful about how you are approaching relationships, not allowing anger or ego to get into the way of your connections. It's very important at this time. This can definitely be a time where you feel like you are stuck in a situation that you can't resolve. As this continues, though, this gets better. Venus being here in its own sign of Taurus, once again, is an excellent position. So as Venus comes out of this hemming by the Sun and Mars, this is definitely going to make relationships very peaceful, very well grounded. You can have a great deal of conversation and communication to work out any sort of conflicts. This is also an excellent time for family, as the sign of Taurus is connected to our early childhood and our sense of family and community. For some of you, Venus can also help you in the area of wealth and business, as Taurus is a very entrepreneurial sign. And Venus, of course, is all about the luxuries of life. So this is an excellent placement. Once again, Venus feels very much at home here in Taurus, so giving you a great sense of comfort and happiness. Following this, on the 14th, the Sun will enter into the sign of Aries. So Sun feels exalted in Aries, especially within the first asterism of Ashwini. So right away, coming into this energy of Sun and Aries, there is a lot of strong energies coming in. This can definitely be a time of feeling a boost in your energy levels for some of you, and really getting a feeling of confidence, of charisma, of really feeling that you are in control of things and moving forward, having that forward momentum. Following this, on the 20th, we will have a solar eclipse. And of course, the solar eclipse is a very inauspicious time, as an eclipse is always where we have a shadow body that is covering up one of our luminaries. So the darkness is blocking out the sun during the eclipse. And in this case, this will be Rahu, which is covering up the sun. So this is definitely a time to not act hastily coming into this solar eclipse. This especially being in the nakshatra of Ashwini, you want to be very careful of any sort of ego issues or any sort of impulsiveness. Ashwini is all about speed. So you want to make sure that you are thinking through all of your decisions during this eclipse. Following this, on the 21st, we will have Mercury entering into the sign of Aries retrograde. So this will actually station in the nakshatra of Bharani. So as Mercury comes retrograde here, this is always, of course, a time of review, of going over everything, making sure that you're not missing out on any of the details. But as Mercury is here in Aries, this is creating a bit of a conflict here, as Mars is not happy with Mercury, and Mercury has come into the house of Mars. So this is definitely a time to not be impulsive about your decision making. There's all of this passion and intensity that is here in Aries, where you can make quick decisions and jump ahead without thinking it through. And Bharani, where this retrograde will take place, of course, is known as the star of restraint. So there is a need for self-restraint coming into this Mercury retrograde. Once again, not making hasty decisions, but finding a sense of patience and discipline is very important. Later on the 21st, we will finally see Jupiter entering into the sign of Aries. So we've been waiting for this transit for some time now. And Jupiter, of course, is friends with Mars. So this is a very positive transit as Jupiter comes into Aries. But this is not quite like Jupiter was in its own sign of Pisces, where it was more of a hermit, more of a mystic going inward. But here in Aries, Jupiter is very active, very adventurous, very ambitious. So this is a very fiery energy. This is definitely a time of being more outgoing, of being more focused on achieving your goals and pushing forward in life. This is encouraging you to live your life to the fullest and to incorporate a sense of excitement and activity in through this Jupiter in Aries. You do want to be careful though, because as Jupiter comes into the sign of Aries, it will come into a conjunction with Rahu. So Rahu tends to blow things out of proportion. And Jupiter, of course, is already a planet of expansion. So you want to be very careful about over expanding in the area where Jupiter is placed within your natal chart. At the same time, Jupiter can help to pacify some of the negative effects of Rahu. So for those of you who have been struggling with this Rahu transit, Jupiter coming in here will bless you in this area where Rahu is positioned. So let's go ahead and talk about how this month of April will affect each of you according to your moon sign or ascendant sign. And just a quick disclaimer, I am using Vedic Sidereal astrology. So I am not using Western tropical astrology. You want to make sure that you have the correct information so that you get the right interpretation. If you are not sure what your sidereal signs are, there is a calculator down below in the description where you can find out that information. For those of you with a Sagittarius moon or Sagittarius ascendant, we will see a full moon here in your 10th house. So this is definitely about really wrapping up career situations. For some of you, really needing to close old doorways to welcome in the new here. This also could be a time though where you are finding some new opportunities, some new areas that are opening up to you. But once again, this is about letting go of the past, letting go of everything that no longer serves you. And for some of you, this has a lot to do with your belief systems, as we have the sun that is ruling over your 9th house and the moon ruling over that 8th house. So some of you really needing to let go of the past, some old beliefs, old situations that have been weighing you down, really stepping into this new situation in your public sphere. Following this, Venus will be entering into your 6th house. So this is definitely a time of thinking about your health, thinking about your daily routine. This may be a time where you want to add some beauty or some sense of happiness and enjoyment, some social connection into your work life. And this can definitely bring up your mood with Venus coming into this house. You do want to be careful though, because this house is also dealing with digestion and illnesses. And Venus is definitely all about sweets. And as Taurus already rules your 6th house, you want to be very careful about what you're taking into your body at this time, especially as Venus will be hemmed between the Sun and Mars, really making this a very challenging position from the start. But as Venus comes out of this hem, this really helps you to feel rejuvenated, to really work on your health and diet. This may open up some conflicts in your friend circle as well, as Venus is ruling over your 11th house. But once again, this gives you the ability to make peace in these areas. Following this, we will see the sun, which is entering into your fifth house. Excellent position. This is lighting up your creativity, your intelligence, your education. This is a great time for speculation for some of you as well. You want to pay attention to the planets that are in your fifth house and where your fifth house lord has gone. But this definitely is a time of opening you up to different opportunities and really starting to get out of your comfort zone to experience new things, to really delve into your creative expression. So Sun in here really can make this a very fun and enjoyable time where you're a little more spontaneous, more adventurous coming into this transit. Following this, though, there will be a solar eclipse in Ashwini coming up here. So you want to be careful as you come into this solar eclipse about any kind of risk-taking speculation. You want to make sure that you're looking over all of the details and being very cautious about the moves that you make, because once again, Rahu will be eclipsing the sun at this time. Following this, there will be a Mercury retrograde also here in your fifth house. So definitely, this is about reviewing all of your decisions, all of your situations around speculation, risk-taking, making sure that everything is in order. This also could be a time where your children are struggling as well, where you may need to step in to help out your children in this area, especially around education. So this is definitely a time where some of you can have struggles in your own education as well, and you may need to take some guidance or to have someone assist you in this area. This Mercury retrograde definitely helps with your career for some of you, as this helps you to go over some old skills and lessons that will help you to advance in your public sphere. Following this will be Jupiter entering into the sign of Aries. So this is the big event for this month here, as Jupiter is shifting signs. Jupiter here in your fifth house is excellent. This gives you a lot of luck around risk-taking speculation, again, especially if you have a well-placed fifth house and fifth lord. This will really help you in these areas. This could be a time where you're thinking about some investments, some entrepreneurial routes, really getting into your creativity and coming up with new ways of making money.